Hello, everyone. So, I've come across a lot of situation in which I'm surrounded by negativity, and most of which come from myself. Forgetting to bring an umbrella on a rainy day, falling down the stairs in front of everyone, things run out after a lineup in the long queue, and missing my bus by just 1 minute. What's probably surprising in these situations is that I have a bag to cover myself in the rain. Probably no one knew it was me who found the stairs. And I got to walk home after missing my bus for the sake of my own health. See, I'm trying to be positive here, but my point is, I've been tormented by this thinking of, I'm the unluckiest person on earth, until I realized this is a general tendency experienced by most people. Psychologists refer to this as negativity bias. For example, do you tend to think pessimistically rather than thinking on the bright side? Have you ever thought about your collection of embarrassing and mortifying moments all at once, like a comedy show before sleep? So, what is negativity bias? Is it as influential as it sounds? It is a social psychological phenomenon, simply meaning the bad way of thinking. Humans tend to recall insults better than praise, as a matter of fact. You might not notice it yourself, but our brain reacts more strongly to negative stimuli and negative events than to equally positive ones. Let me give an example. It was an amazing day until I got my test back. I failed my test by just 1 mark, and because of the 1 mark, my grade dropped from the A to B, and I got to experience this beautiful and blissful lecture from my parents. And that turns into the only thing I can think of by the end of the day. Now I think back to this. It was the odds tipping in favor of negativity that made me dwell on the so bad thing that occurs. No matter how the day goes as perfect as I could ever imagine, negativity bias made me cling onto the pleasant event, never letting go. The scientific reason for this circumstances is we tend to ruminate more about a pleasant event. We use stronger words to describe our negative emotions. When you fail a test, you'll probably say, I'm such a failure, this couldn't get any worse. But when you actually got a good score, you'll probably say, I did all right. Those unpleasant information is processed more thoroughly and emphasized harder in mind, even when it's insignificant or inconsequential. We are constantly waylaid by criticism and unable to get past a minor snub from our friends. Given that bad is stronger than good, it's interesting to think that we get no credit for doing extra work or go beyond promises, but we are penalized severely for something that we didn't do. Therefore, this bias explains why bad first impression can be so difficult to overcome and why past trauma have such a long and lingering effect. Even when we experience numerous good events in one day, negative bias can make us focus on the so bad thing that occurs. Negative bias also manifests itself in our risk-taking analysis. Think about this. How do you feel about losing $100 or gaining $100? Generally, the positive feeling of finding unexpected cash is easily outweighed by the negative feeling of losing it. We tend to make more effort trying to lose less money than making more money. We're becoming more inclined to avoiding risk. So, where does negativity bias stem from? From an evolutionary standpoint, our survival was actually based on negativity bias as a state of some danger. Imagine you're a caveman living 1,000 years ago among your ancestors. What if there's a dangerous wild animal slowly approaching you now, targeting your position with that malicious stare, roaring with sharp teeth? What is the immediate action to do? Just as expected, you're going to have a fight or flight response. This is when our survival instinct kicks in. The negative signals in our brain warn us the unknown danger and stimulate us to protect ourselves effectively from merciless predators. In this case, living in such a difficult time, it's certainly more important to spot predators than finding food. The overweight of negative information is actually saving our lives. The balance between focusing on the bad and the good side differs from now when the consequences are deadly. As humans evolve, negative bias became a second nature of our survival and saved us from danger. But in modern society, it doesn't do much good for us. We barely encounter predators like on our sister, so we don't need to be on constant high alert for survival. The overweight of negative information has a detrimental impact to our mental health. We feel striked our ego and low in self-worth. We may even feel unmotivated or unlifted. Psychologists link negative thinking to depression, anxiety, chronic worry, and OCD. Unfortunately, we're exposed to those negativity in such environment we're living in. Around the world, negative news articles dominate the media, and negative coverage is notably more attention-grabbing and to journalists and use a way to reach a mass audience. A research paper in the 1980s found that negative issue received roughly 70% of the coverage, while positive research only got 30% of the attention. But why are they so prevalent? Why does the media concentrate on the bad things in life but not the good? Social media again uses the psychology of negativity bias. Human behavior research found that it is the stimulus which elicits a response, and negative stimuli elicit larger brain response, thus requiring greater attention and more cognitive processing. With all the understanding of negativity bias in mind, how can we avoid falling into this psychological trap that appears to be a default setting in our brain? In order to override negativity bias, it's important that we acknowledge that we cannot escape from negativity. Bad things happen within natural causes, but it is not natural for us to voluntarily expose ourselves to all of them as we have no choice when we actually do. We face unhappiness, challenges, rejection, and fear on a daily basis. Instead of trying to eliminate those negativity, we should be boosting well-being, trying to direct your consciousness towards positive feeling and start thinking what is important in your life and what is not. Then you will notice the negative bias start to disappear. Thank you for listening.